So this was a lot of fun recording this podcast.
Yeah, maybe the most fun. Just so much in common, so many interesting topics, just fun.
Yeah, we had Devyn Trujillo. She is a recent graduate of UCR, University of California, Riverside here. She works at KUCR, which is the local radio station. She has her own show called Outsider Roundup. She's a musician, bass player, played in a band for a number of years, played shows all over Southern California. Huge music enthusiast. So we talked about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, just music, trashy reality TV, relationships, your obsession with Morrissey.
Yeah, we did a deep dive into Morrissey, all things Morrissey, and like you said, reality TV and what we're watching and all of that. So a lot of fun. Hope you enjoy listening to this podcast as much as we enjoyed making it and hanging out with Devyn and learning all about her world with music and UCR and the radio station, and especially under right now with quarantine and how they've adjusted and with her show and what that looks like now. So hope you enjoy it.
This is the Create Podcast.
I don't know how much you know about me, but I also went out south for a while too, and then found my way back to
I love that.
California. Yeah, is this happening? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Wonderful.
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep talking then.
Yeah, we just go.
Yeah, because I grew up here, like I'm from Grand Terrace, but spent most of my time in Riverside.
Yeah.
And Redlands too, I suppose. There are a lot of like church shows and hardcore shows out here that I would venture into. Cool. Oh boy, Redlands. But for some reason growing up, I was like, man, Inland Empire sucks. I got to get out of here. Like, this is nothing. And I spent all of my time on a music message board, specifically AFI, the Despair Faction, their fan club message board. And through there, I met a boy from Tennessee. And so week after high school, I moved to high school graduation, moved out to Tennessee.
Oh my gosh. Were your parents like freaking out?
Oh, my mom was.
Yeah.
She worked it out.
Yeah. Good for her.
She got through it.
Worked it out.
Yeah.
But it was that thing like, I need to go out and, I'm going to go hang out in Nashville and Murfreesboro and see the world there. And we were saving up to move to Portland, Oregon while we were living there. So we made that move.
So did you move to Portland?
Yep.
Yeah.
I was 19, 20.
Yeah.
Trying to work full time and go to school full time.
Yeah, because that's what you do.
Enjoy anything about Portland because I was 19 and 20 and couldn't go to bars or see any of the bands that I loved coming. Yeah, that's what I thought too. But it was like, oh, your favorite band's coming? Well,
to a bar.
Stay home.
Yeah, that sucks.
And then somehow I was like, I want to go back home.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, Inland Empire rules.
I know, isn't it so funny? Yeah, I lived in Seattle for 12 years. So I love
it's just so beautiful.
It is. I
up
love
there.
I love. I always joke all the time that had I been making a decision for myself, I would have ended up back in Seattle when I came back to this coast. But one of us doesn't like the rain so much.
Oh, I get it. That's why I had to leave Portland.
It's a thing. Yeah.
When I was there, it was one of their worst rain seasons in a decade, and it rained for 9 months straight.
Yeah.
It was literally waking up in the morning, maybe today I'll see the sun. No? Okay.
What years were you there?
2009, 2011.
Yeah.
Around there. Oh, it was.
Yeah. It was
sad.
It was crazy. There was a year in there, and maybe it was 2009, where Seattle got the most snow.
Yeah, I think it was that year because Portland was getting crazy snow that it never had. Walking to work at 5 a.m. through snow.
Yeah, just my son had the
glad
longest
I made this move.
Christmas break ever because I think they were out of school for 2 weeks before Christmas break started. Yeah, it was
rough stuff.
It was crazy, but I love the Pacific Northwest. It's so pretty.
I'll go back to visit.
Yeah, there is nothing like Seattle in the summer. I always say
that's true.
It's amazing, but it's just the rest of it's rough.
It's rough.
It's rough
for that 4 weeks of summer.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Which that's what, and I would say the same thing about the Carolinas too.
Yeah.
Where
it's rough.
It's rough, and it's a long patch of rough where you walk outside and it's just getting smacked in the face.
And if mosquitoes love you, Yeah, I'm right there. And it's like, oh, well, I'm going to go outside and take this call. Well, I've got 48 bites on my face.
Yeah, I know.
And I need a shower.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would like walk out to like pick a tomato out of the garden and not exaggerating, come back in with 15 mosquito bites. Like,
well, until
those
like
are dark days.
your people, especially people that have never lived in another place, and they'll talk shit about Riverside or the Inland Empire, Southern California. Like, you just don't understand how weather even is related to your happiness and your enjoyment of a day. It's
absolutely
so related to it. And it's one thing to visit, but when you've like lived and you go through the seasons of the humidity and the extreme cold and
it gets cold. Like,
yeah,
driving through snow and you're like, but it was 114 degrees with humidity like not that long ago.
Well, and in addition, it's a region that consistently gets snow but has no way to deal with it other than just shutting down. I'm like, I'm sorry, how is closing for 2 weeks our solution to annual snow still in 2018, guys? Like,
so it goes.
Yeah, so it goes.
So you
just don't know.
So you came back. When did you come back to Riverside?
I was probably 21, 22. So it was probably in a quick 3-4 years that I did all my traveling.
Yeah, you were like, boom,
and then
boom,
I was like, I'm going home. Like, I had friends back here who were like, I came back to visit, and it was just like, why aren't you here? And they're like having pool parties and just like enjoying life out here. And I'm like, oh, well, haven't seen the sun in a year, but it looks like a real good time.
Tell me what it looks like.
Yeah, and it was honestly that. I was like, I want to have fun, because I was like 19 and 20, the years where you're really supposed to be rocking it, and I wasn't. So I came back.
Just surviving.
And it was wonderful. It was the best decision I made.
I love that.
Yeah.
So you came back and you enrolled at UCR.
No, that was a journey. When I was living in Portland, I was going to the community college there for a little bit, like doing all the classes there, and came back and wasn't sure if I wanted to keep going to school, wasn't really sure what I wanted to do at all. Then got my heart broken, and then got a guitar, and then I was like...
and the rest is history.
Yeah, and I was like, well, I'm just going to write some songs, and figured out guitar, wrote some songs, and then one of my best friends from junior high who I lost contact with, she had been living in LA all the years that I was out and doing fun LA stuff, being a big, I don't even know what to call it, but she led a band and was living her best life out there.
Awesome.
But then she moved back to the Inland Empire after getting her heart broken, and it was like, join my band. We're we can do this. And I was like, all right. So school wasn't on my mind at all. I just started playing music and working crappy jobs, and was just going to be like, all right, let's see what happens if I want to go back to school. And eventually I did. I started going to RCC first while I was doing band stuff. And then did the transfer process a couple years ago. It's been 10 years of community colleges, transferring, breaks.
Your transcript is like this.
It's I'm glad UCR accepted me, and I'm glad I'm done with it as well. So
what did you graduate? You just graduated in weirdest, last semester of college ever.
A doozy. Yeah, my winter term ended around the beginning of March, so that's when everything started going kind of haywire. So the winter term, I was in this Bollywood class that I had to make this Bollywood movie for, and we were gonna have this big screening for it, that's what the class was leading up towards, and we had this big choreographed thing. Then the week of finals, it's well, you guys, you're not allowed to come to school anymore. So thanks for all your hard work. So I was like, okay, well. And then spring term started, this past one, and that was all online. And it was just, it's so difficult to care. Well, you already have senioritis,
Right.
If you're all right, great. But when your bed is right next to you, and you can shut off your camera, and it was
We
I
have
pulled
one
through it.
who graduated from high school, and the
How?
senioritis was, well, here's how. He was in IB English, like English is his
Yeah.
best subject. He ended up having to do credit recovery to like finish the class because he just could not even.
Yeah.
Which I couldn't. I was just like, bro, I do not care how you do this. Mm-hmm. Just get it done.
Yeah, in high school, I was the exact same way because I did not want to be there.
Right.
My junior year, I just completely gave up, and my poor mother was like, can we try like homeschooling
Yeah.
online program? Like, please, you just need to do something.
That's how I'm like, I don't care what your grades are. Just earn degrees. Just get it done,
please.
man.
And it was like, the life force was not there.
Right.
So my junior year, I went in online classes and didn't do anything. So went back to Colton High. That's where I graduated from.
Yeah.
As we get to the end of the story, I graduated.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. I went back to Colton High and pretty much had to redo my entire junior year
Yeah.
while doing my senior
Right.
year because of credit recovery.
Yeah.
And I
Credit recovery.
shouldn't have graduated, I think, but a wonderful teacher fudged the numbers a little bit. And I ended up meeting them later because they played in a bluegrass band with
Oh, that's
my friend's
amazing.
dad. And so now we're friends and listen
That's
to old-timey records together. I'm like, thanks for
Bless
letting me graduate.
the senior counselors and the senior teachers.
They know what's
because
up.
They're getting it done. Yeah.
They know the kids mean well. They know they're
They
smart.
do. Yeah, and they're so good at gauging, when he was like attempting to like still finish the IB class, his teacher was like, I really just need to like have some inkling that you care.
Yeah, just the smallest
Yeah,
smudge.
she was really trying, but
I couldn't imagine.
He did not care.
with all of this right now, especially
Yeah.
like with my apathy already back then,
Right.
like a million times over. Oof.
He got it done. He graduated. Woo!
Yeah, and I mean
2020.
them trying to
Yeah.
figure it out as it's happening, and
Yeah.
just not a precedent for
Yeah.
that type of thing. I wouldn't have made it if I was a senior in
Nope.
high school.
No.
Yeah, it was crazy. But senioritis.
Senioritis pulled through.
Yeah, you got it done.
I graduated, but I still have one more class I'm currently in.
Listen,
But
I
it's a
was
class I
telling
love,
Antonio
so we're
this
good.
the other day. I had a recurring nightmare for 10 years after graduating from college that they came to me and were like, psych, you have to give your diploma back. You didn't actually graduate. You know that one math class that you thought you dropped and you stopped going to, you didn't drop it. You have to go back and do the, I
Yeah.
had like an actual like waking up sweaty nightmare 10
Yeah,
years.
I've been having
Yeah.
stress dreams of forgetting about a class.
Yes.
Of just like, all right, I've done it, I'm good. Oh no, I had an English class this whole time. I didn't do anything
I
for
had
it.
that dream.
What does that say about the college
I
experience?
so had that dream.
it's like such
It's
like
a stress nightmare.
yeah, it really
It's
is stressful. Are you having those nightmares? Sometimes.
I had that exact one where it would be like halfway through the semester, and I'd realize, oh my gosh, I had that class. I haven't been going
I
to the
had
whole
not
time.
been going to sociology.
I totally had that one. But then the
that was
whole
last night.
yeah.
Why?
Yeah, 10 years after graduating.
But then the whole like not graduating, because I graduated, I walked. I had 2 classes that I was enrolled to take that summer, so they still let me walk and everything. And then I was in my senior year, I was starting a business, actually a franchise. I bought a franchise business. I was like starting during my last semester, so I was like super checked out. Finished that semester, passed all my classes, and then that business got really busy, and I dropped those 2 classes. I'm like, I'll do them next summer. And
Which
5.
you do not. You are not someone that enjoys school
I
at
hate-
all
I hated
in
school.
the slightest.
6
ever.
years later, I hadn't taken those 2 classes, and I finally took them, and
That's
officially,
insane.
like, but at that point, I was like
That's so stressful to me,
Yes.
knowing that that
Right?
exists.
Right? You're like, thank you for confirming that my nightmare is real.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I couldn't imagine.
But
Yeah.
because those 2 classes like hanging over my head for 6 years, those dreams never stopped
yeah,
that whole time.
that is
Yeah.
awful. Yeah, I have
Yeah.
to take. Well, I'm in the process of one. It's finishing up. It's a Civil War class, so I'm
enjoyable.
fine with that right
Yeah.
now. Because my major is music and culture, but I minored in U.S. history just because I'm a total like geek when it comes to that. Like,
Yeah.
always have been. And so, and especially right now to like
Yeah.
take all these classes,
Yeah.
and it's like, I know what I'm talking about, even though I don't, but like I feel a little more secure, like arguing. So.
I'm in like an Alexander Hamilton deep dive right
yep.
now, and
I still
it's
haven't seen Hamilton.
Yeah, we watched it on my boys and I watched it on Disney Plus last week. Okay, it's amazing.
Yeah, my sister and my nieces, that's all they've. Well, they're babies; they don't talk about it. But my sister does, and she makes it seem like they really enjoy it. So
She makes them enjoy it.
So what did your you started a band with your friend? What did that evolution look like with band and music?
the first band I really played in, we were called Mischief, and she went by, my friend Melissa, she went by Mischief, and we were her misters and her miss. And I played bass. I had never played bass before, but I bought a bass and loved to listen, like, what was it, Gang of Four's Damaged Goods. Like, I'd put that on and just like try to mimic that, and that's how I learned bass.
That's amazing.
And so when she like, got a couple guitarists and a drummer together, and they've been playing in bands for years. So here I am, just like this goofy kid who hasn't talked to anyone really in a couple years, because I've been in isolated like Portland rain, and it's like, hey, how's it going? So I just kind of like faked it till I made it kind of thing. But the band, we were together for maybe 3 or 4 years,
Which is a long time.
It was a really long time.
Young adult band life.
Oh boy, and it was wonderful but rough, because the singer started dating the drummer.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's really all I have to say about that.
Yeah, I have
He
two
crashed
brothers.
her car,
Yeah.
and then practices were just tension-filled.
Yeah.
And
That's the best way to break up the band.
it was the worst. And we had been together for years, so it's like, that's my brother. Like, that's it was bad. But the music was so good. And I recently deleted my Facebook and took like all the videos and pictures off from there, and I went back and like looked at all the like old videos from Facebook of the live shows, and like, man, these songs were so good. We released like a little 4-song EP like 5 years ago, maybe, and those are like floating around somewhere. But those songs are so good. So that was that band. But through that band I met, so like, she just grabbed me by the hand and just like introduced me to this world of like LA musicians and IE musicians and creatives, and I had no idea, especially growing up out here, that like there was all these like little microcosms of weird creative freaks who I was like, oh, I'm not alone. So it wasn't until I was like 22, 23 that I really started like figuring out, and I'm 29 now, to give reference to these years.
Now I could do the math. What kind of music were you guys doing?
Boy, it was like heavy witchy cabaret stuff. Like, it's hard to describe. It was kind of crazy, and usually I'm really good with like we would do a cover of I Put a Spell on You, but it was kind of more like CCR's version. So it was like kind of in that sense, like just really like heavy but kind of spooky.
That's cool.
And Melissa is she's just a show woman. Like, she's been keeping it easy now with all this quarantine stuff, but after she stopped music, she started like hosting drag shows and doing this.
Oh, cool.
So she's like, so we're just playing really like heavy, kind of like creepy music, and she's just la la la, like she looks like Liza Minnelli and has like her lace, and she's great. And so that was wonderful. But had to dip out because it was just like, boy, you guys need to stop fighting.
Yeah, like what percentage of bands implode because of relationship
do
amongst...
not date people in your band.
Just
that's really the only advice I could give to the world.
To the world.
Just
you're like, this is my contribution.
If you're in a band
and
the drummer's really handsome, great, cool.
Yeah.
Have him introduce you to a friend.
Yeah. Just don't date him.
Yeah, my brothers, when they were in high school, I was college age, they're younger than me, they're twins, and they played in a band in Riverside, and this was their very first band, I think probably like freshman year in high school. and my brother wrote all the songs, all the lyrics, all the music, and they had a girl singer and a guy singer, and my brother was in love with the girl singer.
Of course.
And a lot of the
Writing
songs were about her.
No.
And then, and everybody knew they were, but nobody talked about it.
No.
And then the other boy singer, they started dating. So then he was singing the songs that my brother had wrote.
He's singing the songs to her.
That's some Fleetwood Mac.
Exactly.
Nightmare.
Yeah.
Exactly. But they handled it extraordinarily well for that. I mean, they, like, that's one of my brother's best friends, the guy, to this day. Like, they're
Yeah.
still
Well,
best
that's
friends.
good.
So
And they've been friends like since elementary
yeah,
school.
it could have been a disaster, and it really wasn't. So kudos to them for.
Yeah, your brother is just like the most like good, good
Yeah,
guy.
it was funny to
easygoing
watch
guy
though
ever.
from a distance.
That's the thing with like being friends with a lot of people, like in bands, musicians, like knowing their personal lives and like seeing them get up on stage and like singing the songs. Like, I know exactly what that song's about. Like, that guy was a jerk. Like, sing it, sister. Like,
That guy was a jerk.
it's
love
interesting. I miss it all so much right now. Like,
Yeah.
not having this community like to just hang out with and
Yeah.
go to shows. Oh, I miss shows so much.
Yeah.
There he goes.
It'll be back eventually.
It'll be back.
It'll be back eventually.
Eventually,
You said the Comedy Store's patio open for
just the
food.
restaurant, basically. Yeah,
Yeah.
like you can go eat their crappy food.
Yeah,
And
like,
Yay!
who wants to go to the comedy
And-
store just to
Hooray!
eat?
Just say, oh, I'm at the Comedy Store, but eating their fried chicken
Don't
tenders.
you just want to be like, Bobby Lee, can you just like stand in the parking lot
Yeah.
and like tell some jokes, like throw us a bone?
Yeah, I miss music too. Like, so we have 6 kids, and our oldest is 20. We have 4 boys that are all between 17 and.
Yeah, they're a year apart.
Oh
17
boy.
and
So right now they're
20.
20, 19, 18, and 17.
So when they were, how old was Tristan when I took him to their first show?
Gosh, probably like 13.
So he was like, they were like
Maybe.
13, 14, 15,
Yeah.
16. I think he was even 12.
Yeah,
Anyway,
he might have been
I think
12.
they were like 12 to 15. When I took them to their first show to see Jimmy Eat World
Awesome.
when we were in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of the best things about Raleigh, where we were, is there was like 4 just really good small music
Yeah.
venues. And if anyone went to the southeast, especially in North Carolina, they were going to Raleigh. It's
Yeah.
the capital. So we had a ton of bands like that. So we saw them in this really small club, packed out in the front row, and they got the set list. And afterwards, I'm like, this is not how it normally goes. Like,
yeah,
you don't.
like you had an
This is
experience.
not
Yeah,
a
like you
normal
don't normally get the
concert
set list.
experience,
Like, you don't get to
guys.
give the singer high fives like when they're singing. Like, that's not always.
You guys like were on the band's Instagram.
Yeah, like-
the band like took a picture from the stage and they're like in the front
And that
row.
was their first show.
That was their first show.
That is
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
But so I took them to that probably 3-4 year period.
Yeah.
We were going to shows all the time, like that. Get Up Kids. We took
Yeah.
them to that show, and same thing. They got the set list, got to meet the whole band, and
That is so awesome.
yeah.
They got some good skills though, because Tristan, the youngest of the 4, gets a set list pretty much every show he goes to, because you
He has a
like
ton of 'em, yeah.
you taught
Yeah.
him well. He's got like a good, he knows to like immediately
Mm-hmm.
leave, go away by the door, or sometimes he like
Or
gets
they-
it. He just grabs it off the stage. you
Yeah,
know?
that's all you have to
like
do.
the stage
is
manager
that.
will be coming by, like pulling the tape off of it, and he's like, "I'm here, I'm here."
yeah, he's like right there.
The one time I felt like I really made it, someone asked for my set list. Can I have your set list? And I was like,
Yes,
I would love to give you this set list
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
I still have boxes and boxes of just, because I started going to shows when I was like 12,
Yeah.
maybe, and it was just every week at least. And so I have just a treasure trove of garbage just like written on the
Right.
back of like beer boxes and
Yeah.
just all this.
That's
I'm like,
amazing.
this is good. They drink this beer. Like, so yeah, I got my first show was the Spice Girls when I was 7.
That's
Nice.
amazing.
Saw them at the what is it called now? The Glen Helen Pavilion,
Yeah, I
whatever it
can't
was
keep track.
before.
Yeah,
And so I saw the Spice Girls, but
it's amazing.
it was a bit of a break. Wait, no, I saw the Backstreet Boys after that, but then a few years, and then I saw AFI when I was 12. They played
Yeah.
in San Bernardino with Coheed and Cambria and a Static
Really?
Lullaby. It was a really weird show.
I
Yeah.
love Coheed.
It Claudio? Is that his name, the vocalist? He was threatening to stab people.
Really?
The crowd was horrible.
Oh.
It was one
it's
of the
San Bernardino,
worst shows in history, and it was like my first real introduction, and I had my dad with me, bless his heart, who ended up being like my show partner for years.
That's
just
awesome.
This giant, like 300+ pound, like Mexican guy with like a big forehead, and just like he like threw a kid who was trying to jump on his back to stage dive all night. I saw him launch. But my dad's thing is he always ends up backstage somehow because he looks like security.
Yeah.
And so that show, same thing, like ended up backstage. So my first show was like, you let that girl through. So like, then this little like 7th grader like in the front, like, yeah, I did it. And it was at the Orange Show. They had the heater going on. It was like a January, so it was just hot in there. The whole crowd was like doing that thing where it's like an ocean and everyone's falling on each other, and it was miserable. And so they started heckling Coheed, and Claudio didn't take it well. And then AFI played.
That's why the IE gets a bad rap.
Yeah.
LA bands come and play here.
Yeah.
We want what we want, I guess. It's like, I didn't come here to see you, but that's the worst mentality to have.
It's not great. Yeah.
Being an opening band is fun.
Yeah.
Claudio is Ethan's hair icon. Is he the one? He's the guy with the hair. Yeah.
His hair is amazing.
He's our 19-year-old hair icon.
I remember the first time I heard them years ago and then saw a picture. I'm like, that's the guy.
Wait,
doesn't
what?
make sense.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
It must be confusing, like seeing him play live too.
My dad was very confused. I recall.
Yeah.
We had tickets to see them last year in Raleigh. It was like Take It Back Sunday, and
Oh man, like a big old.
And at the last minute we couldn't go. I was super bummed. But.
Yeah.
Just like emo revival.
Yeah.
Like.
It was.
Well, that was the cool thing back then when I started taking the boys to shows. Like, I think it was like the 20-year anniversary of like Clarity or
so weird.
So you had, or was it 10? Anyway, so you had all these bands that like
lost.
I listened.
Yeah.
All these bands that I had listened to, early 20s, and that were like either coming back just to go on tour, and they were like all coming through there. So it was
we like sat with our
like Get Up
arms on the
Kids
stage like this for Dashboard Confessional. Like, that was my favorite. Dashboard was my favorite.
Yeah, our kids were into them. We took them to see them like twice, I think.
Yeah, we love Dashboard Confessional as a family. It's our family band.
Definitely had a picture of Chris ripped out of some magazine.
He's just so little. Like, you see him in person.
He's a little man.
And you're like, oh, look at those size 12
who
boy
hurt
jeans.
You, little man.
When we saw him in the summertime a couple years ago, he was wearing this super tight tank top and like super tight short shorts.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's so little.
He's so little.
wanna
Like, they were
pick you
like
up,
a size 12 boys pair of jean shorts. It's just like, and like teeny tiny Toms. Like, he was wearing Toms that day, I think.
Yeah.
Just a miniature man.
My first show was Ziggy Marley at the Hollywood Bowl.
Radical.
My dad took me.
Radical.
Yeah, and I think Van Halen was. I saw Van Halen at UNLV
I thought you were
center.
about to say Van Halen was on the same ticket. I was like,
You're like,
wait, what?
Wait, what?
I think that was my dad. We went up
Like,
to
that's an eclectic show.
Vegas, and I think that was my second show. But music, like my dad was, when I was tiny, my dad was obsessed with Pink Floyd, and The Wall was like playing. My dad gets obsessed with something, whether it's a chicken sandwich or an album or a song. So there was a period. Yeah, there was a period when I was like 3 or 4, I think, where that album was playing all the time.
Yeah.
And then he stopped, and then I got into music like 5th grade, 6th grade.
Yeah.
And I didn't start listening to Pink Floyd till like middle school, probably. And I'd put the album in. I hadn't really heard it in forever. I'm like, I know the words to everyone.
You're like, wait a
Just
minute.
ingrained
How do
in
I?
you.
It's like osmosis.
Yeah.
Well, you had a unique music experience because your parents are the oldest, both the oldest, and they had you super young. So you had like a whole stream of like super cool aunts and uncles that introduced you to like the best music.
Yeah, like I had around 5th, 6th grade, I had one uncle that was into from Van Halen, Metallica, and Anthrax, and just all metal stuff. which he was super into. I remember walking into his room in like 5th grade, and he was just covered, like wallpapered with posters.
Nice.
And I remember when we were allowed to go in there, me and my other cousin, 'cause we were like, he was probably a senior in high school and we were in 6th grade.
Yeah.
And like he would let us come in his room. Sometimes it was such a big deal. He's like, don't touch anything. We would just stare at the walls and all the posters. And then I had another uncle that was into the Smiths, and that whole world introduced me at a early age. So, but on your Instagram, I saw a picture of a guy wearing a Morrissey shirt. Is that your dad?
Was he a big old
guy?
man?
Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
that's my dad. And yeah, he was almost like in the NFL, like played like high school football hero and like all of this. But he like talks about being like a secret goth. Like he would have to like hide in the closet to listen to Susie.
He's like, I'm putting my eyeliner on underneath my
pretty
football
much.
helmet.
And so like when I started really getting into that stuff when I was like 12 or so, he was like, is that Morrissey I hear? And so he was able to like finally embrace it and really let his freak flag fly.
That's awesome.
We were able to see him a few times when he first came back to California. I don't know, I was probably like 15 or something, but it was his first show in like 10 years or something.
Yeah.
We went to that. We saw him in San Diego, and he played like a quarter of the set because the mic was feedbacking, and it was like pretty much like just told us all to go home.
He's a little bit of a finicky performer.
But same show, once again, my father looks like security. He was like, just stay here, because it was this big line like at this marina. It was like this outdoor show, and he just acted like he was the head of security. People were asking him to take their lunch breaks. And same thing, like he was like, let that girl through. And so it was like front row center.
That's
like
the best.
That's awesome.
Morrissey touched my hand.
That's the best. It's like that meme that's like, I wore a red shirt to Target, and I don't know, but I'm working on Sunday from 12 to 5 for Karen.
He just has that look to him. Like, I don't know, I respect that guy.
Yeah.
I could see it. So someone comes up to him at the end of the show. Hey, here's your check. Thanks
Pretty
for
much. Thank you very much. Yeah, he'll just roll with it. But I don't know why, but yeah, Morrissey, he really, my first tattoo, once again, my poor mother, I just like rigged up a system when I was like 15 or something, had like a needle and the
You
back
made your
of
own tattoo gun?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
But not even a gun. It was just a needle like in the eraser of a pencil that I just good old stick and poke, and I wrote "asleep" on my ankle because I was very sad and I just love the Smiths.
Yeah.
But now it looks like Ashley.
Nice.
So I just tell people it says
a different
Ashley.
meaning.
It's like,
I know our now 17-year-old, when I think he was like 15, was trying to like put together a logical argument to me of why he should be able to let one of his friends give him. And I'm like,
yeah, I just went
like,
for it.
Tristan, yeah, I'm thankful that he was like coming to me, talking it through. But I was just like, in no universe. He's like, I'm just going to do it like here on my thigh. I'm like, I have a problem with everything that you're saying. Like, there is no part of what you're saying that I'm okay with.
I pull up my laptop. I'm like, let me just show you some pictures. Like 20 years later, like stick and
I'm so thankful that I didn't go all out because I was a creative kid. You know, I could have, I have a small question mark on my knee and then a couple dots on my wrist. I think that was the end of the damage I did to myself.
The extent of the stick and poke diaries.
Yeah, but I ended up with more anyway. But those were, well, not all of them professional. But I didn't do that.
Professional-ish. More professional than, this
absolutely
self-portrait tattoo.
Marissa says I have a borderline inappropriate obsession with Morrissey.
That's true. Lately, it's been crossing the border a little.
Yeah.
I've recently just not rediscovered, but he was making me upset for a little bit of the time. I was like, Morrissey, I can't handle you and your personality and your views. And so, but this past week, specifically yesterday, I was like, I'm going to put on the Sing Your Life video. I'm going to dance. Like,
just have it. Well, you kind of had a similar experience because you saw him in concert with the same brother that wrote the songs in Durham. Like when we lived in North Carolina.
4 years ago.
And it was like I advertisement for being a vegetarian? Like, wasn't the whole show like?
Oh yeah, the screen the whole time. It was showing like cows being slaughtered.
Those
and
when I saw them as well, and I was like, wow, this is like
intense.
I'm a vegetarian, and I don't like. I know I don't eat meat because I know I don't like that. Please stop showing it to me, Morrissey.
You're like, I'm a vegetarian, and you're offending me.
You're like, that's. Yeah, I don't want to see that.
Yeah, you're right. That's gross.
That's
Thank
gross.
you, sir.
Thank you for broadcasting.
Well, I came home from that show.
You did.
I came home for her. I'm like,
shooketh.
I'm like, I think I have. I don't want to, but I have to become a vegetarian.
I was like, just go to bed. Just go to bed. Drink some water. You're gonna be okay in the morning. It will be fine. You're gonna move past it.
Like, I remember Tiger Army opened for him. This is like at least 10 years ago, and they got kicked off the tour because like one of them like
ate a hot
snuck
dog.
a burger, like, or something like that. Like, he has this strict, like, no meat clause if you
tour with him.
Well, I think it was Coachella years ago. My brother saw him, and he was downwind from, like, the giant turkey leg vendor. And it was just blowing. I
want that to be so funny to me. But
it's hilarious. So he's like, it's just blowing it across the stage.
Morrissey's having to just smell turkey meat.
He's like, oh.
Yeah, my brother said, like, he was gagging. And finally, he just said, I can't perform with
he's a finicky
burning
performer.
flesh.
Yeah.
Burning
Boy,
flesh.
is
And
he.
he left. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's kind of a creative genius. You know, like, he's one of those people that's in a category where you're like, we're just going to let you be who you are because...
Bless his heart.
Yeah, you've given us some beautiful music. So carry on, warrior.
He was on Larry King's new show a few years ago, interview, and it was actually it was a pretty good interview, yeah.
Huh.
I've been meaning to read his book. I know he released that autobiography a couple years ago.
Yeah,
but once again, having to... All right, Morrissey. I'm going to listen to your music. I love you, but...
Yeah, they're just guys. Yeah, like there's sometimes in a relationship you need boundaries.
Exactly,
it's true.
It is absolutely a relationship. It's that one song "Rubber Ring" where he's like talking about like it's like exactly how I feel about him. Like it's about like, oh, remember the songs that you used to love growing up? Like you're older now. You're a clever swine. They're the only ones who ever stood by you. And I was like, you got me, Morrissey. You're right. Like, how did you know years later I'd want to revolt against you? But so it goes.
He like just built that in.
Do you love me like you used to? Like, no, Morrissey, but I'm trying.
Like I'm committed.
So when did you get in to working at the radio station UCR? How did that develop?
Oh man, so when I was at RCC, my friend Michaela, who worked at Back to the Grind, the coffee shop in Riverside, and we just like through playing shows there and stuff became friends with her, and I met her at RCC, and she was transferring to UCR. And also was like, when I go to UCR, like, I want to go to KUCR. Like, that's what I want to do. I was like, me too. That sounds awesome. So I kind of followed in her footsteps, and she was hired by that point and working there and was like, put in the good word. I had to put in my application like a year before, like before I even started. Like, they don't hire often. And so I felt like, I need to put it in even before I go to UCR so I have a chance for whenever they do.
Yeah.
And I did. And so, yeah, I think I put it in like a summer, and it wasn't until like that next spring that I got a phone call.
Wow.
And so, yeah, that was only a year ago, really. It was like early 2019.
Yeah.
And it's just been a whirlwind ever since. I just started as a DJ, just slowly like figuring it out and the board and all this, and then got deeper into the KUCR belly of the beast, and now I'm like the PSA director, and I make all these public service announcements, and it's just there's like it's hard to listen to the radio sometimes, like the station, because I make most of the commercials.
Yeah.
And so it's like in between, it's like KUCR presents. I'm like, no. Like, I can't.
You're like, la 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 la.
Can't do this right now. But yeah, that's one of the things that like sucks the most with this whole like shutdown thing. I mean, so many things suck. But my selfish gripe is like, we at the station, like this group that was hired with the previous people, were just really starting to get our flow together and just like had all these ideas and creative ideas, and we're doing this, and then it's like, yeah, I haven't seen any of them in months, and like all of this.
And are people like broadcasting from home?
But it's just a small few of like who have been able to figure out how to make shows from home. Yeah. Like I think maybe there's 4 or 5 of us that are still like making fresh shows right now, and like, but it's just such a process. Like I've been making one, but I've been working on it for like a week because it's like curating the songs, and then you have to record it separately, and then you have to splice those separately, and then you have to go back and record. It's like a podcast pretty much, like, but it's just so much more tedious than going into a station with all your friends and like, all right, I'm gonna do this, hey, what's up? And so it's just a whole nother beast, everybody contributing to the greater product that you're now trying to replicate by yourself. It's really hard to get into like the back announcements, like because normally I'd just be like, hey, this is what I just played, like, and then like friends popping in like, all right, well, KUCR. But now it's like, well, that was the Slits. Like trying to get into character in my room. By yourself. Yeah, I have to like tell my boyfriend to like, you can't come in. Don't look at me. Like, pretend this isn't happening. Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm in character. But it's like, I'm not, but I am. It's so weird. So it's weird. Yeah. I'm very excited to inevitably get back in the station, but that's a whole nother can of worms with our tiny old station that is being surrounded by these giant new buildings at UCR, and it's a whole nother can of worms, our fate, but we're working it out. Like we're powering through.
So you have your own show, right?
Yeah, the Outsider Roundup. So I've been doing that for about, I don't know, it's been over a year now.
Is it every day, or what's the frequency?
When everything was normal, quote unquote, I was doing it once a week, and the last time slot I had was like Friday 3 to 5, so it was like perfect afternoon, like, hey everybody, it's me. But now it's like, well, like whenever we're figuring it out. And so I try to do a show weekly still, but it's just it's a process. So it's been more of like every other week that I have a new show coming out. And KUCR now, because of everything being different, has kind of switched to more public affairs stuff. So music doesn't really even start until 9 p.m. now. Oh, wow. And so it's like, if I do have a show on, it's like, all right, it'll be Wednesday at 11, like tune in. So it's right now, it's just like a random grab bag of when it fits in the schedule rather than set times. It's the board, so it's completely different. It's weird, but I'm interested. Just thankful to be on still. I'm like, hey, my voice is on the radio. That's the coolest thing I could ever think of. So you bring together just different songs. What's your favorite stuff to be playing? It's an extremely eclectic show. I usually do like three songs block, like a 3-song block that's kind of similar. Say it'll be like old Western cowboy block, and then the block after that, like, I don't know, I'm feeling funky, and it'll be like Funkadelic and Prince and this. And then, all right, now psychedelic music. So it's a lot of psychedelic, soul, funk. That's cool. Western pop. I just have, like, my thing, like, ever since I was a kid is, like, I just know, like, so much. And, like, I try to listen to something I've never heard every day. Like, I try to at least listen to, like, a new album every day or something. Yeah. So it's just, like, I've just got this treasure trove of obscure nonsense good tunes in my head. And so it's, like, I finally have the ability to, like, curate this big old weirdo show of all this. That's so cool. I need to have our 19-year-old tune in, because his goal is all, like, he very rarely will listen to a song twice, which I'm like, you definitely were born in the right era, because I couldn't imagine that was not attainable when I was 19. Like, you know, we were still listening to CD. We were still, like, you were listening to either what was on the radio. That's all you had. Or what you had on CD. But he just, like, turns on Spotify, and, like, he went through, like, a big, like,
steampunk era.
Oh, man.
And like, yeah, he was listening to Sigur Rós the other day. Like,
oh man,
he has the most eclectic music taste of anyone I've ever known.
Just reminded me on one of the many show trips with my dad. It was one Coachella. It was when like Depeche Mode was headlining, and that's one of the main reasons we went out.
Yeah,
but it was like Franz Ferdinand and all this stuff. Like, so it was around that era.
Yeah.
And we found a spot like at the front of like the main stage, like early in the day, and was there for like 10 hours.
Oh
like,
my gosh.
It was. So by the time Depeche Mode came on, we were like ready for it.
Yeah.
But before Depeche Mode was Sigur Rós, and my dad had never heard them, knew anything about them, but the dude like next to him was really hyping him up. He was like, "This is gonna change your life, man. This is like that you are gonna have no idea. It's gonna be the best thing ever." And he was pumped. He's like, "Yeah, this is gonna be rock." He hated it. He hated it so much.
It's for sure polarizing.
He was like,
for
like,
sure.
"Oh, like somebody, like kill me!" Like
well, especially playing right before Depeche Mode.
He'd been standing there for hours,
Yeah.
and there's this beautiful
he's
Icelandic
like,
man
I just want to hear
playing a
Depeche
guitar
Mode.
with a violin
Yeah.
bow. And he was
not.
So to this day, he
not a
truly
fan.
hates that band.
We saw them. Oh, we're gonna tell the same story. Go.
We saw them in Raleigh maybe 4 years ago, and it started pouring. It was outdoors, but they were covered, and they kept playing. So we were like,
That
which
sounds
was
beautiful.
It was amazing.
Yeah, that's
It
what
was-
you want.
It was actually like
You
the best.
look up and you see just the rain coming
Yeah,
down through the lights,
it was
and
amazing.
you're just drenched, and it was amazing.
It's
Yeah.
They're not
Ethereal,
my
like-
super favorite band or anything, but that was like a celestial
their
experience.
rainstorm music.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
It
like
was
the best band
amazing. Yeah.
of what we listened to, like for that to happen.
Well, it was interesting because, I mean, that happens a lot at that venue because the first concert that we let two of our boys go to by themselves, I'm totally going to blank on the name.
21 Pilots.
21 Pilots. And so
And
it
they
was,
were, like,
and they were
brand
going
new.
by themselves. Like, we had been to the venue with them many times. I dropped them off. But it was like a show full of kids. You know, it was like mostly kids who I think a lot of them seeing their first show without their parents. And the heavens opened and it like totally started pouring. And so they moved them all. Sigur Rós, they were just like, carry on, warriors, go be at peace with the rain. But that night they like moved all the kids into the convention center across the street. So the kids are like texting me like, we're getting run over by all the kids. You know, like it's like the stampede.
Oh, yeah.
Because it happened like our kids had been waiting in line like 7 hours or something. Because, you know, they're well trained. Like
Yes.
they know how to do
Yes.
concerts. So I dropped them off like 7 hours before the show. They had been waiting forever. And then like the show's about to start. They're in the front and it starts raining. And so they move everybody. And all the kids are like, we're losing our spots. We're losing it. It was like, oh my gosh.
I
it
know
was a
that
mess.
feeling. I know that panic. Like,
Yeah, they were panicked.
I was the weirdo, well, with many other weirdos, like camping out the night
Yeah,
before.
you're like, I wasn't by myself.
The streets of Hollywood. Like, no.
Yeah.
I don't, once again, if my mother knew, like,
Yeah.
being like 16 with like, no, all my friends I met from the internet, they're flying in. Like,
They're cool.
we're just going to sleep like in front of the Troubadour. It's all right.
It's fine.
I turned out okay.
You're still alive.
Still
Turned
alive.
out okay.
Got a
Those-
lot of stories.
Yeah. I always say that about our kids, that our kids like did some stupid crap, but they were really good at like, I always knew what stupid, I mean, for the most, I'm sure like as they roll into their 30s, I'm going to get
my mom's finding some
whole-
stuff out now.
Yeah, I'm going to get a whole litany of things, but for the most part, they're good about like keeping us apprised of their stupidity, which good, bad, I mean, it's a toss up, but yeah, that just like, I got to keep my spot. They were so upset.
It's the whole experience.
It is.
If you don't have a good spot, are you even there?
Oh, yeah, did it even happen?
Did it even happen?
I know in my Facebook memories, Tristan had taken a couple pictures that night when the show started back up. And they're just like awesome, amazing pictures. So it must have been like, the pictures surfaced within the last week or so on my Facebook memories. So must have been in the summer, but
That's
just
awesome.
such good memory. You know, like there's nothing like a good concert.
No, like that's sincerely like, other than my friends, is like the one thing that I'm dying to do is just like get my mind blown
Yeah.
by somebody, I don't know who. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I just miss needing to put something in my ears because it's too loud. Like I miss that.
Right. That's part of my Alexander Hamilton deep dive right now is I'm listening to My Dear Hamilton, which is like from Eliza Hamilton's perspective. It's like a 23-hour audiobook. And I'm like, oh, I need a little break from 2020. Let's just listen to some Founding Fathers drama.
It's better than my escapism. I've gotten into reality TV really hard. So.
Oh, yeah. What are you watching? Like, I used to do a lot of reality TV, but we got rid of cable and I don't have it dialed in.
It's such a great escape, though.
It is. What are you watching? Tell me all the juice.
So, in this quarantine, I started and finished The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Oh.
I'm halfway
like
in.
all of it.
All of it.
From its inception.
From the start to the end.
That's impressive. Like you should make yourself like a little badge.
Know all about it in
Quarantine
a month.
2020, whatever all of the little initials are. RHOHB.
They're my friends. They're my friends.
They're your peeps.
Now I'm on New York, Real Housewives of New York.
Oh, there's some. Is it Regina on that one? And then there's like a duchess or
the countess.
The countess.
There's the countess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm doing. And 90 Day Fiance is really the other one.
Oh, yes.
And,
we have watched that.
Did you see Married at First Sight?
No.
Okay, yes, that's next for you.
That's my plans for today.
Yeah, there you go. Did you watch the Tiger King?
Yes.
Okay, good. Antonio, our friend, had not watched it. We were like, dude, you gotta watch Tiger King, man.
That feels like Tiger King feels like forever ago.
Yeah, a couple years.
Like,
doesn't it?
That whole phenomena feels like, but it was just a couple months ago, was it? Like,
well, that's the thing with 2020. There's so
Every
many
day,
major things that have happened
yeah.
that they seem like forever ago.
Yeah, every day is like a new historical event, it seems.
It is.
And so it's like, I almost forgot his name, Joe Exotic. How could I forget?
How could you forget?
And so
Too much has happened since then.
Yeah.
Well, it's like we were watching something and like an old commercial came up and they said essential workers. I said, oh, remember when that was being said all the
we're not
time?
even
Remember
saying,
when people cared about the essential workers?
We're not even saying essential workers
That was
anymore.
years ago that used to be said.
No, it's just a guy at a grocery store. Who cares?
Yeah, I feel like we've elapsed 5 years over since March. It's an interesting time to be alive.
Yeah, but Married at First Sight, I think there's like 6 seasons, but we started backwards.
Great.
We watched.
That makes me happy too.
Doesn't that make you hear that and you're like,
oh, I've got.
It's like
want to go to the store, get some snacks, and
yeah, like you hear that and it's like,
honestly, because it's total. Because like my boyfriend, he does not understand. Bless his heart. Like we've been living together the last 3 years. I've been doing pretty good at not having him like know my weird reality TV stuff. But now that we're together all the time, it's like over. I'm watching this.
There's
right
no
now.
quirks that
Enjoy
can be
this.
hidden when you're living with somebody in quarantine.
But like he just doesn't. So we had to have the talk. I was like, I'm smart. I'm a very smart woman. All right. So know by me watching this,
it's just an escape.
I'm watching it like analytically, like
yeah.
Look at these.
I'm
dummies.
watching it
like,
ironically.
Exactly. It's like I'm invested in their lives, but come on.
You're like, let me show you my resume before I watch this.
Remember that book I read last week? Like, all right, we're good.
We're cool. I know. That's one great thing about our relationship is that we are very evenly matched in our trashy TV watching.
It's true.
That's wonderful.
Except The Bachelor, Bachelorette. I can't watch those.
I can't really watch those either.
No, those don't interest me.
It's just
but
too
once
ridiculous
again, I've
now.
never dived into it, so that's easy for me to say.
There are some seasons, if the Bachelor/Bachelorette seems to be a decent human, I don't know. I haven't really watched it since we've been together, like in the last 10 years.
No.
But there were times like it can become like.
Yes.
I think because it's been like the quality of person that they're attracting.
Yeah. Well, it's just so shallow. There's not.
It's
I mean,
so
not that the other
shallow.
ones are super deep. But
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
Just the whole concept.
It just seems so one-dimensional, like compared to some of it. Like, did you see the Before the 90 Days with Big Ed that season? The guy with the no neck and the long black hair.
No, I've been trying to find
That's where all the memes come from.
Okay, yes.
Okay, so you
I've
have
been
to
trying
go
to
on
find
Amazon.
That one's
it's on Amazon
amazing.
Prime, and you have to pay
Amazing.
$30 for the season.
You know what? I did that with the other 90 Day Fiancés, and once again, I really hope my boyfriend doesn't listen to this, because if he found out that I spent at least $60 on 90 Day Fiancé stuff from Amazon.
Yeah. You're like, just, do you know that podcast? It was really boring. The people weren't interesting. Just don't watch it.
I think it was the most. I haven't seen any of the other ones. I think that's the only season I've seen of that. But that was just because they're following 6 or 7 different storylines, and all of them are just such a train wreck.
Well, they're such a train wreck that you're like screaming at the TV, like, "What are you doing?"
It's insane.
It's insane.
It's insane, and so it's wonderful to have the fan blowing on you, your dog at your feet, like, look at these idiots.
Right. It's like a brain pause.
Yeah, but that Big Ed, he's just such a kid. Like,
so
he was on.
I didn't know his name was Big Ed.
Yeah,
so isn't that amazing?
I think he's self-proclaimed.
Better.
He's a self-proclaimed.
Well, because I'm sure you've seen like the one where he's like, "I like the view." And have you seen that? Is it what are we called?
I think the only thing I've seen with him is like him talking about her hairy legs or something.
Oh yeah, so there's that.
So I saw that one.
So there's that one.
They're sitting at a. I'll let you tell it. I'll set up.
No, it's fine. Go.
You should. They're sitting at a table like dinner. They're in like the beach, some resort, and they're sitting there eating lunch, and they look out in the water, and she goes, "I like the view," and he goes. He goes, "You're my best view," and she goes, "Eh."
it's like the best.
She was just so not into him from the very second.
Love it.
And he's just like throwing himself at her.
Into him.
But yeah, he was on the H3 podcast, and he's like been on a bunch of stuff since then. It's crazy.
He was like, because like a lot of the people, I mean, reality TV in general, but that show specifically, a lot of the people on that show are terrible.
Yeah.
They're not good people.
They're not good people. But
seems like a good dude.
Every now and then, it's like, oh, look at this little angel. He has no idea
and
what they're doing.
I'm sure that like on the spectrum, like if he was in a normal show, I would probably not like him. But because he's in like comparison to all these like truly
just putting his heart out there,
just horrible people, I'm like, oh. And not horrible, like, it's like all manner. Like the guy that like has flown to the Ukraine 6 times, and the girl like keeps not showing up.
She's not real, and everybody knows.
That's the same season.
Okay.
Everybody knows that she's not real.
It's worth watching. It's entertaining.
Like
Married at First Sight is good,
it.
but like it's like super interesting at the beginning, and then it's like we need to like just skip some episodes and like get to the end.
Yeah,
because we kind of fell off.
It drags on for a while.
You know what we're currently watching?
I'd love to know.
That should not be as interesting as it is a show called Alone.
Oh, that's amazing.
Is it like getting left in the wilderness?
Yes,
kind of
except
thing?
it's real.
Love that stuff.
But
except it's real because they do their own camera work. Because all the other ones, you're like, he's alone, he's about to die, and then you're like, you're not holding a camera though.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, obviously, there's a film crew, and they're like every once in a while, like a boom will like drop into the shot, and you're like,
medical emergency. You see like the crew in the back, like
they're dropped in Antarctica.
They're like truly alone.
They're allowed to pick 10 items.
I love this.
Like, so these are people that are like hardcore, diehard survivalists. Like it's their job. Some of them.
And it's a little bit like presented like the Hunger Games, like in the Hunger Games when they were like in the forest, and it would like show their name of like where it's like it. I don't know.
It's
I don't
done well.
Understand exactly all the specifics of what makes it works, because when I'm describing it to someone, because we like Antonio has to listen to all of our reality TV watching, we're like, oh my gosh, Antonio, we found this new show, and he's like looking at us, he's like, you guys are such losers.
It sounds so dumb.
But it sounds so dumb like as I'm describing it, but it's great. Like that's next about on your watch list, by the
Alone,
way,
because that one is like, I don't feel dirty like watching that one, like with some of the other ones, you know. Like I just feel like I'm learning stuff. Like if I ever get stuck in Antarctica, like I'm gonna catch a rabbit.
I'm ready. It's like changing the way I think about things.
I'm gonna catch a rabbit.
Like as I was entering, like pulling the laundry lint like out of the thing the other day, I was like, should I save this? Is it gonna help me start a fire? It's like changed. Like I'm ready. Like I learned how to smoke a moose on that show. Like
all visually, I assume.
I'm ready.
That show's amazing because they drop 10 people. They each can pick 10 items, and they're all in the same vicinity area, but they're not near each other. They don't know where the other people are, and they just go until they tap out. So it could go for like it goes like
Like one guy broke his leg
4
like the
months.
second day.
Oh man, I didn't realize.
One guy
it was
ate
like
a
an indefinite.
muskrat and had to tap out.
And you don't know if other people are tapping out.
Yeah.
Like, or how many people are left. Like the guy that won, he had no idea. They just finally showed up and like, you're
Okay,
the
will you
last
stop?
one.
You're like
No,
giving
it's
stuff away.
fine. I'm so excited to watch.
It's
this.
amazing.
Okay.
And I think
Like I keep saying, like every single day, like it's like one of those where we're both just like, just one more episode, and I'm like, Mark, I have to go to bed. It's so
She's
late.
like, it's 2 in the morning.
It's too like we've watched it till 2 in the morning.
I
We're
could probably
binge watching
convince my boyfriend to watch
it. Yeah.
that one. It's because
It's
it's
great.
that same thing. He doesn't like if he's not learning from it. Like, what are you doing?
He'll
Yeah.
like that one.
And he's
Still like alone.
like
It's good.
a good way to get to know him is he rode his bike from Riverside to New York.
Oh,
one time.
Wow.
So that's the kind
just
of guy.
one time.
So that's the kind of guy he is. So
Yeah.
it's like, why are you watching
What kind of,
this?
like a motorcycle?
No, like
Mark's like, I
him,
need some more
Him and his buddy
explanation.
Aaron took
They
him a few months.
Bicycled all the way to New York?
Mm-hmm. They
That's
had to go
amazing.
through the country and camped
Listen.
and
I've driven
Wow,
across
that's
the country a
wild.
couple times.
Yeah.
That's an ordeal.
so that's the kind of guy he is. So when I'm like
Yeah.
munching in bed and watching like
Real
it's
Housewives of
funny,
New York
and he's
City.
like, "This is the stupidest thing." Like,
Yeah.
go outside. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
You're like, stop touching me. I don't have
So
space
we-
for this.
It works, but yeah, definitely this quarantine has been like, because he's home all the time. I'm home all the time, and it's like we've been
Yeah.
been able to skirt aside those issues of like, oh yeah, what you do in your free time is.
What does he do for work?
He was working at Simple Simon's downtown.
Love
he was
Simple Simon.
I love that place.
before everything kind of
Yeah.
blew up. He would like go in at 4 a.m. to do like the bakery stuff,
That's
and so that
amazing.
was his job for a while. But
Is Simple Simon's are they open in any capacity right now?
yeah, they opened up, tried to do dine-in, and then dine-in got shut. So now it's just very like
Yeah.
limited. But he recently just resigned because it was just
Yeah. Crazy.
so stressful. And we live with my grandmother who, bless her heart, is like, she like straps on her back brace and's like, I got this, like, and tries to do everything. But we've kind of just had to be like, we have to like
yeah.
take control of this house because this woman's going to kill herself. So we've kind of just
It's been
devoted
good
ourselves
timing
to
caring for her, it sounds like.
yeah, just
Yeah.
like, and he's just being a handyman, or like he had to dig 12 hours yesterday to fix a water pipe and like all this.
Oh
So
my
he's,
gosh.
but he's all right with that though. Like he's the kind of guy like, no, it's fine. It's like, I'd rather be doing this than like,
Yeah.
I don't know, dealing
Yeah.
with customers
Yeah.
complaining about soup.
Well, and Simple Simon's has a difficult location because you have to get so deep into
Yeah.
the space to order, even, you know?
Yeah, it's
Like
it's
not
a crazy system.
It's not a quarantined
no, and they are trying to like
location.
keep it going like that, but it's just so difficult. So he
Yeah.
just kind of he had to bow out.
Yeah, I totally can see that. That's
Wow.
cool.
So-
He would probably like Alone.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna watch
I'm gonna
it.
cross my fingers for you. You'll have to send me a text.
No, he's
I'm putting money on it. He's
been really getting into building model airplanes.
Oh, you're
So
like, just
it's-
take a step back.
So I'll be in the room. He'll just, I don't understand, and then tissue paper and all this. But
Yeah,
I love him.
yeah.
I love him.
It makes the world go round, right? Like variety is the spice of life,
So
and being
now-
able to just like be like, I am totally not into that,
Yes, that's something we've had to be like.
but
I
I,
don't
love
like that.
you.
You're great though.
Yeah, I love you. So carry on.
Yeah.
Like,
More power
just-
to you.
Yeah, enjoy it.
Like that, I don't like. You, I do like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's learning how to deal with those
Yeah.
things.
I want to go back to with the station,
Mm-hmm.
with the music when you're picking. Like, do you have restrictions? Are there limitations on songs that you can play?
KUCR, most college radio stations, there is like you're kind of like designated like, oh, you've got the rock show, you've
Right.
got this. But we're so lucky at that station. It's kind of like go to town. And as long as it doesn't swear, you're good. And like I could literally play white noise for 2 hours if I wanted. I'm not going to do that. But it's really like they put the trust in because it's such a like they don't do it often if they bring in DJs, so like they really put their trust in the DJs to curate a good solid show. And
Yeah.
I love everyone's shows on there.
That's
So
awesome.
it's like, yeah, I I wouldn't have been able to do my show if I had like a kind of set
Right.
thing, because it's like all over the place with like tropical music and I don't know, ambient guitar drone.
How do I tune in and listen to KUCR?
Well, the airwaves if you're in the Inland Empire, but it's also constantly streaming at KUCR.org, so you can just
Very
go
cool.
and listen to a stream on there. And I think there's an iPhone app. I think it's like an iHeartRadio for Android or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I usually just go on the website on my phone because you can just have it on in the
streams.
background. And
Yeah.
And can we go on to KUCR? Does it have like archives? Can I listen
There
to like your
is.
old shows?
Well, not on the whole archives thing. Like, we had someone in the archives position, but now with quarantine,
Now
like,
we
he's been let
don't.
go. And so we just recently got a Mixcloud. Like, Mixcloud's like the streaming service that's specifically for like radio shows and things like that. So it's another app, but you can go on and stream like my shows specifically. So
That's cool.
KCR just recently got a Mixcloud, so I've been uploading all the shows on there.
Nice.
And yeah, I like that more because I was just like uploading playlist, but that doesn't have the same effect of the transitions and all of this. And
It's like missing the voiceover in between the song.
yeah, I've
and
got
the
a lot
mixtape.
of information. I got years. I got quips. I got.
So can we access the Mixcloud? How do we access the Mixcloud?
I think you just
Like
download
through-
the app, or you just like mixcloud.com or something.
'Kay.
Just look up KUCR and
And there you are.
yeah, I think I have 6 shows. I think I've made 6 shows during this whole home situation. And yeah, so I've got those on there. Working on the 7th. Should probably finish that today.
You're like, maybe instead of starting alone, I'll finish.
Before the shutdown, were you doing your shows live?
Yeah,
Okay.
every show was live, but those were all recorded too. Like they have in the station, like they have a system like every live thing is recorded. So all of those are archived, but it's on their computers. So
Right.
I'd have to like get those, but
Yeah.
that's definitely something I want to get on a hard drive before.
Whatever the next
Yeah,
thing is
whatever
happening.
happens, Lord knows tomorrow. But so yeah, all of those shows, I would love to hear them because just like now I know what I'm doing. I'm confident, but at the beginning it was like, don't know how to work these controls. And then I was bringing vinyl in, and it's like switching from this, but then I have to go on air, and it was.
So were you playing when you were doing it
Chaos.
live? Were you playing on different formats? Like sometimes it was a
Yeah,
song that was
depended,
downloaded, and
like-
sometimes it was a record.
Yeah, because I've amassed quite a solid record collection
I
in my
bet.
years.
I bet.
And so I was like, I can finally use them.
Yeah.
And yeah, so initially I would just, when they're training the DJs, they just want you to use, like they don't want you to use your computer or anything. They want you to like have physical formats and learn
Yeah.
how to actually be a DJ.
Yeah.
And so I would just bring in my records. Like I would pick CDs from the archive sometimes, but I was like, why would I do that? I got all these records.
Yeah.
So most of my first shows were all vinyl. And then as I got more comfortable and they got comfortable with me, sometimes I do vinyl shows, but sometimes I'd just have a big old crazy online show that I would have a DJ app, and can mix on there. And
That's so cool.
oh, I miss it. I miss live shows so much, but they'll return.
Yeah. What was the last
Yeah.
show you went to?
It was Ila Bamba and Combo Chimbita at the Lodge Room in Highland Park. And there was actually tickets that I got through KUCR. Like I had a ticket giveaway show and stuff for it and all this. So I was super excited, and I'm so thankful that was like the last show I saw, because it was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah.
That's
It
cool.
left a good impression on me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I had a good one to savor
Mm-hmm.
through this time.
So it goes once again.
I wish that, like some of the comedians were doing like drive-in shows. I wish that we could like harness that a little, like, cause that's an avenue where, cause we've been going to like the Van Buren
Yeah.
drive-in because they started playing classic. They played Ghostbusters.
Didn't know that.
They're playing Goonies tonight.
It's good to know.
Yeah. So they did Ghostbusters and Groundhog Day last weekend. And they're doing Goonies this weekend. So we've been doing that.
What's the second one? Do you know?
It's like My Spy or something. It's not a it's not a classic movie. I don't know. Whatever.
They need to do Back to the Future.
Oh yeah.
Maybe.
You should write them a letter.
I will.
But yeah, I wish that we could like harness the drive-in experience a little more.
With like live music, it's just one of those things that you have to be there.
Yeah.
And so like even because we have this series called FM Nights at KUCR where it was our live show series, and so we've done one online version of that so far, and we're in the process of figuring out the next one. But it's that same thing, like it's just not the same thing. So we've kind of switched it more to like discussion based as well. It's like I'm gonna play some songs and have interviews, which is a cool thing because
that connection.
Yeah, because normally during shows you can't really have that, but so there's some positives to it, but it's still like I just miss having everyone together. It's like
yeah, UCR could harness that gigantic parking lot, do some drive-in shows there. I'm sure that they'll be
We'll get back.
slow to get back there, but I'm excited to see like as all of the creatives come out of this time of like respite and quiet. I think it's going to be so interesting to take, I said this about Zoom when we kind of first started using Zoom for the business, that I was like, we're all so burned out on Zoom right now that none of us want to talk about it ever again. But, it was this resource that was sitting there that none of us were really using, that I think it's going to be really interesting when we get on the other side of this to see like the resources and the pivots and the kind of different ways of making things work that we all figured out during this time, how it's going to come back together with like the old ways and everybody being like recharged and having all this creative energy. And I'm excited to
just like the collaborations, because it's like if we've been building all this up to ourselves, like once you're able to link up again, like oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of like if you're talking about the Civil War and my Alexander Hamilton deep dive, that's what happens through history, there will be this time of like turmoil and revolution and like, the Spanish flu of 1918 and all of this. And then what comes after it is the Roaring 20s or the Renaissance or, so I'm excited. I'm excited to see the next.
I'm ready for that phase.
Yeah.
You were ready.
I'm excited.
For that phase.
I just want to hit the fast forward button on the cassette player. And it's just
like you're gonna skip
go to
forward
that
30 seconds like on YouTube.
Like I mean I've always been a homebody, and I've always like loved the corner of my bed in my room.
Yeah.
I washed my windows for the first time in years, like because I was like, well, if I'm gonna be staring out these windows,
you're like, here I am.
I'm like, wow, they're that color, the trees, they're beautiful. So it's like, honestly, this is like the most social interaction I've had in months. Like
well,
I've really gotten to know my dogs. I mean, I've always been a weird dog person anyway, but full-on conversations are happening now.
Yeah, I know. My kids say to me all the time, Mom, you know that the dogs don't speak English, right? I'm like, oh, they do.
They understand.
They know what I'm saying.
They understand.
They're picking up what I'm throwing
100. That's something I've allowed. That's something I've allowed myself to be like, I'm gonna have a conversation with my dog.
Yeah.
Because who else am I gonna talk to right now?
I mean, I don't have a shortage of people. Like, I'm still like in a, with all of the kids home, I'm still in like a place of like introvert oversaturation.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine having a house full of boys right now.
They just like talking so much, and they like showing me YouTube videos so much, and they like me watching what they did in Fortnite so much.
No.
And they like me looking at what they built in Minecraft so much. I'm really saturated with. Yeah. So but the dogs they don't talk back. So I think that's the appeal with the dogs. So I can talk and they don't talk back.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a weird time, and I'm excited to see what's, like I think that it's going to be like this huge like creative burst that happens after, and I'm excited.
Ready.
Yeah.
ready for it. Well, thanks so much for coming in. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. This was so needed.
Good.
Talking to people. I was worried my interpersonal skills were just out the window
They're
at this
gone.
point.
Well, you still got it. So, got it.
Oh, maybe I'll get a job. Who knows?
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.
You're like, let's do all the poses. That one's great. Oh, I love it.
I'll color it in.
That's awesome.